The person who smiled at your success was quietly hoping you'd fail, and you already know who I'm talking about. Picture this: you just got good news. Maybe a promotion, a new relationship, a win you worked years for. And the first person you call is someone close, a best friend, a sibling, maybe a cousin you grew up with. You're excited, heart racing, voice shaking. And they say, "Oh, wow, that's great. That's it." No follow-up, no questions, no real reaction, just that. And suddenly you feel strange, like the air got cold, like you said something wrong, like maybe you shouldn't have called. But here's the truth: you didn't say something wrong. You reminded them of something they're afraid of. And it gets worse because this person, they don't even know they're doing it. They genuinely believe they're happy for you. They'll say all the right words at dinner. They'll like your posts. They'll show up to your celebration. But somewhere deep inside, in a place they don't even visit, there's a quiet fire burning. Not hate, not rage, something more subtle, more dangerous: jealousy, hidden jealousy, the kind that wears a smile, the kind that sits at your table and secretly counts your blessings, the kind that hurts you slowly without ever lifting a hand. You start second-guessing yourself. You wonder if you're being too much, too loud, too happy, too successful. You shrink yourself. You downplay your wins. You apologize for doing well. And that's the most devastating part. Not what they felt, but what it turned you into. Nobody talks about this, but psychology has a name for it. It's called benign envy. And even that word doesn't fully capture the damage. Here's what actually happens in the human brain. When someone close to you succeeds, your brain compares automatically, instantly, without permission. It says they have what you don't. And the closer they are to you, the louder that comparison gets, because a stranger's success feels distant, but your best friend's success, that feels personal, like evidence that they're further ahead, evidence that you're behind, evidence that you're not enough. And here's where it gets complicated. They love you. They really do. This isn't about hating you. This is about their own unhealed wounds, their own fears, their own unfulfilled dreams. You just became the mirror that reflects all of it back. But here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The people who are secretly jealous of you are often the ones closest to you, not enemies, not strangers. The ones who know your full name, the ones who remember your worst day, the ones who said, "I'll always be here for you." And the reason it hurts so much is because you expected them to be safe. You expected support. You expected them to be your biggest fan. But familiarity has a dark side. The more someone knows you, the more data they have to compare against themselves. And when you grow, when you level up, when you start becoming who you were always meant to be, some people can't celebrate that because your growth exposes their standstill. And that is an uncomfortable truth, not just for them, for you too, because it means some of your closest relationships were never really safe. They were comfortable, and comfort and safety are not the same thing. So how do you know? How do you recognize hidden jealousy when it wears such a convincing face? Watch for this. They never ask follow-up questions about your wins. They change the subject when you share good news. They highlight your flaws right after your successes. That's great, but you know, it won't last. Yeah, but you're kind of lucky, aren't you? They support you loudly in public and quietly undermine you in private. And the most telling sign, you feel drained after spending time with them, not tired, drained, like you have to be less to make them feel more. And it gets worse because over time you start performing their version of you, smaller, quieter, less threatening. You dim your own light to sit in their darkness, and you call that loyalty, but it's not loyalty. It's self-abandonment. So what do you do with this information? First, stop explaining yourself. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need to apologize for your success. And you don't need to shrink yourself to protect someone else's ego. Second, have compassion, but have boundaries. Their jealousy is their wound, not your responsibility. You can love someone and still protect your peace from them. These are not opposites. Third, choose your audience carefully. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your journey. Some people are meant to watch from a distance, and that's okay. There's a difference between someone in your corner and someone just close enough to watch you fall. Proximity is not loyalty. History is not trust. And a shared past does not guarantee a shared future. But here's the most important thing I want to leave you with. Your growth is not the problem. Let me say that again. Your growth is not the problem. When people pull away because you're evolving, when the energy shifts because you're succeeding, when the calls stop because you stop being stuck, that is not a sign that you did something wrong. That is a sign that you outgrew a dynamic that was only held together by you staying small. And some relationships are only comfortable in your worst seasons. They were built on your struggle, not your strength. So when you heal, when you rise, when you win, some people won't recognize you. And that's fine, because you're not here to be recognizable. You're here to be real. The people who truly love you will celebrate the version of you they've never seen before. Hold on to those people and let the rest be a lesson. I'm Jordan, and you deserve to hear that.